Morning guys, Buckskin Dave here. We're gonna veer off from the black powder this time, and but you know, since the first rifle ever come out, we have strived to make them shoot faster, more powerful, and to shoot further. Okay, and today we're going to kind of get to the epitome of, or the end result of that, and I feel like shooting my 338 RUM today. And I'm going to shoot it at 1,050 yards. The 338 RUM is kind of forgotten because of its sister, the 338 Lapua. Okay, and the other one would be the 338 Edge. The Lapua has been picked up by the military and actually was developed quite a few years before the RUM. The RUM came out somewhere in 1999-ish to 2000, early 2000s, and it is part of the RUM family. You have the 7mm RUM, you have your 338 RUM, and you have your 300 RUM, Remington Ultra Mag. And the other 338 is the 338 Edge, and I'm not an expert on it. It requires you to use a 300 RUM case, neck it up to 338 when you size it, and then you can load for it. So you kind of have to make your first batch of brass and continue making your brass. But we're going to talk about the 338 RUM. Between the Edge, the RUM, and the Lapua, they all deliver about the same ballistics. I built a RUM because it was a little cheaper to get reloading components for, like your dies and stuff. The Edge, you have to have a special die that'll neck it up, and those dies are quite more expensive. Anyway, we're going to go through this 338. It's one of our forgotten cartridges, but it's still a dandy. And if you're interested, hang around, get yourself a cup of coffee, and let's talk 338 Remington Ultra Mag. So if you're like me, you're going to reload these things because I don't think you'll find 300 grain long range bullets loaded off the rack for the 338 RUM. You're going to have to load them up. You can buy 338 RUM manufactured rounds, but they're going to have like a 250 grain bullet. I like the 300 grain bullet because I don't need a short range high power gun. I don't actually need a long range high power gun either, but this is designed and made to shoot long range, so a heavier bullet is good. This rifle here really likes 285s, but I have 300s loaded up, and that's what we're going to shoot today. Loading this stuff, these things all run the high-end loads, the higher-end loads, they all run in the 61 to 60,000 pressure range, so you got to be really careful when you're loading. These bigger bullets, this one here, it doesn't have the 300 grain in it, but like your 275s. The IMR 7828 is a powder that can be used, that's a powder that I like for a lot of my other calibers. I started out reloading this with US 869. It's a really good powder, and you can get somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,800 feet per second out of a 250 grain bullet. That's smoking for a bullet that size. Another good one that I have used and I like is Retumbo. And again, it depends on whether you're going to load the 285 or 300 grain bullet. That US 869 with a 285 grain bullet is a really good load. But work your loads up slow. And then the Retumbo, I get, let's see here, where's my velocity chart? I got about 26, oops, I'm sorry, yeah, almost 2,700 feet per second out of this rifle with Retumbo. It's a real slow burning powder. This has a 31-inch barrel. So it burns up more of the powder on the way down the barrel. This rifle here, some of the good things it has on it, it has a Lapua 25 power variable, 8.5 to 25. It has a magazine feed on it, and it has a 20-ounce jewel trigger. I don't like that 20-ounce trigger. It's too light for this unless you're just shooting off the bench. If you're going to carry it or use it for anything other than shooting off the bench, in my opinion, it's too light. It's what I had when I built it, so I put it in there, and that's all I ever do is shoot it off the bench, so it's working out fine. A few of the other tools that you're going to want to have around as a long distance shooter, you're going to want some sort of a weather station. It's real important when you're throwing these bullets, you know, past 800,000 yards, to know the weather conditions. And wind is one of the biggies. Unfortunately, the weather station will only give you the wind where you're at. You're going to have to look at binoculars and look around and see if you can dope the wind out there and figure out what kind of wind you have out there. And an accurate rangefinder is important. And some sort of ballistic program is really helpful to get you either, I mean, you can make a first round hit with a good ballistic program if you put everything together and do everything from the start, real precise all the way. You can usually make a first round hit, not counting the wind. Wind you got to come up with on the fly. You can't come up with that anywhere else. So anyway, I've loaded up some 300s here, and I'm going to go out and throw some at that 1,000-yard gong and see if I can make it go dong. All right, here we go. Okay, went a little low. Wind took it a little to the left, so I'm going to just Kentucky this. Spoon, teaspoon, over there. One. Let's try one more. Okay, still going quite a bit to the left, or yeah, so let's make it go to the right a little. Up and down I'm looking pretty good. I think we can make one more shot. All right, let's see if we can defeat that wind. I believe we had a hit. You barely hear it. It's not like you can hold this rifle on and see it hit. And I don't have a spotter today. Let's let it cool down and see if my dope works in a minute. I can see from the dust out there that it's really blowing to the right really good. So that's what I'm trying to defeat.
Just to give you an idea, the target is in between those two rock outcroppings, closer to the one on the left, which I know doesn't tell you much, but it's 1,050 yards. So I'm going to see if I can hit it a couple more times. Yeah, she's cooled down. It's not that hot today as it has been, so kind of nice. See if we can hit her again. This wind, it's not too bad here, but out there I'll bet it's I don't know, 3 to 5 anyway. I'd estimate, might even be a little more, but there's not a lot of grass out there to judge it. All right, let's try her again. That was a hit I could actually got back and can see it swinging. The thing's about, oh, you know, 20, I don't know, 24 inches by 20 inches. It's a pretty good sized plate. That one hit pretty good in the center and I could see it swing. So, and you should have been able to hear it. All right, I'm gonna try one more, see if we can get her. See, now the wind has quit here, but what little vegetation is out there, I can, it's got a little blow out there. All right, here we go. What sound is it you want to hear? That's a good bonk. That's a good center hit too. Yeah, it's still swinging. You can tell it's got a more metallic sound when it hits in the center. When it hits on the edge like the first one, it's more of a thud. So anyway, once you get the wind down, once you get the elevation down, these 300s, they're just right, man. 2,700 feet per second in that area of velocity. This rifle will definitely shoot further than that accurately. I don't know, I just kind of have fun with it. I've shot it at a mile before. There's some rocks that are about that big behind there that are at a mile, and I've tagged them before. I've never really set up a gong at a mile, but the rifle will definitely do it. So anyway, well, the more this wind blows, the less I want to waste this expensive ammo. So let's go back in the shop and we'll finish up our discussion. I'm not trying to demonstrate or sell any products, but if you start shooting 1,000 yards, you're going to need a few things. First off, you need something to judge the distance. It's got to be accurate. If your range estimation is off 10 or 15 or 20 yards at that range and further, you will miss a gong. Okay, it won't even out. So you know, you need a good range estimation. You're going to need something. This one's a Kestrel, but there's a bunch of good wind and weather stations on the market. Because once you get all that weather station stuff together, then you can feed it into a ballistic program. One of the ones I use is Night Force's ballistic program, and you feed all the information, and you start with a
You start with, the first thing you do will be get a velocity, an average velocity of your ammo that you're using. And at what temperature, barometric pressure, and humidity that is taken at. You feed that all into, your Kestrel will give you your information, you feed that all into your ballistic program, your computer ballistic program, and it'll give you a chart and where your minute of angle corrections are going to be at whatever yardage you want to shoot at. I have found that I can make a first round hit if I do all that very precisely, and I'll make a first round hit when I adjust it. It's that accurate. If if you don't hit, it gets you close enough that you can work with it and keep some notes and do what you need to do to make those hits and then go further and further. But you do need something, equipment that's going to be able to give you all that information that you can feed in. I just think it's kind of a fun thing to do. It's not like I'm going to shoot an animal at that range. I rather hunt animals than shoot animals. So it's just a game for me that's kind of fun, and it's kind of neat to guide a bullet that far and make it hit, and then to do it consistently. You know, once you get it, just because you hit it one time doesn't mean you're going to hit it the second time. That wind can change and all your stuff's off. And in judging the wind is really, that's the key to long range shooting. All this up and down stuff, elevation stuff, it can all be worked out in a chart. Okay, but your wind, it can also be worked out with formulas. However, you have to be able to dope that wind. You have to be able to judge that wind very precisely, because if you don't, you'll miss. It's that simple. Anyway, that's all I got for this time. I hope you really enjoyed it. I always enjoy taking this thing out and throwing some of them long range bullets. Thanks for stopping for a cup of coffee. I always enjoy your company. Stick around. We're going to do some more stuff this we're getting into trapping season, and as soon as I get all my firewood cut and my traps boiled and stuff, probably that's going to be on me, and we'll be doing a little of that. So stick with me, and you guys just have a great day. Bye-bye.